She's a director of business advisory services at the U.S.-China Business Council. Anna, what are you looking for in these discussions? First face-to-face talks in 2 months.
Right. These are very serious preparations underway, as we understand it, for the talks between the lead negotiators that are set to resume in October. And, you know, I think we've seen from both sides some efforts to give a little bit to each other and set the stage to get back to the table. We're pleased with that because the reality is that negotiating, actually being at the table and talking, is the only way forward here for resolving our outstanding differences. We don't think that there should be, too much optimism about what is achievable in the near term with the October talks. There are a lot of very significant structural challenges that the U.S. sees in the way that the Chinese economy is managed that probably can't be fully resolved in one round of negotiations. But, we shouldn't let perfect be the enemy of good. And we would like to see the negotiators agree on the things that they can agree on, and then move forward with other rounds of negotiations to resolve the other stuff.
I think one thing that has made these discussions going on for more than a year now so challenging, sometimes we get mixed messages from different officials in this administration. For example, asked about the overall mood, Vice President Pence said that atmospherics are improving, while White House advisor Larry Kudlow on the same day, Thursday, said there's little softening in the air. So it's really hard to read if even officials within the Trump administration are united in what they're trying to achieve, even on simple thing as the overall mood. So Anna, in your opinion, has there been any progress on some of the thorny issues at all?
Well, so we definitely have heard from multiple voices inside the administration, including ones that are pretty hawkish, like Michael Pillsbury this week, that actually there had been a lot of progress up to May when talks originally broke down. So on IP issues, I think, in particular. And that suggests to us that there is progress that can be salvaged here, especially because China has been making some IP reforms that are positive from a U.S. perspective and that are really in China's best interest. I think that's why China's been making the reforms.
But you don't hear the Americans talking about that at all. Why is that?
No, you don't. It does sort of feel like the rhetoric around the negotiations is creating this constantly moving target, and there's also a constant expansion of the issues that supposedly are part of the negotiating agenda. But the reality is that the negotiations were, initiated over tech transfer and IP protection and enforcement, and those are the core issues that both sides need to get back to.
How important are these discussions, lower-level discussions going on in Washington now? If these talks, Anna, don't go well, do you believe the October discussions would still go on as planned?
It's hard to say. I am hopeful that these talks are going well. I think that both sides have signaled to each other that they can make the concessions necessary to get back to the table in October. But if the October discussions don't go well, then I think we have to expect that we're going to see the tariff announcements that have been made by the Trump administration actually followed through on, and that will be problematic for sure.
And what do you make of this thing we keep hearing about, call an interim deal between the two sides? Is it plausible, like each side would make some concessions, U.S. with Huawei, China with purchasing more agricultural products? Is that a real thing here?
So we've heard different messages from the administration on whether or not this sort of interim deal or mini deal is actually on the table. I think that the Huawei piece of it is probably the least likely piece to actually be realized in the negotiations. I'm not positive about that, but I do think that the U.S. side would require some firm commitments from China on agriculture purchases at the very least, and China would probably require at least a commitment not to put into place more tariffs, if not a commitment to roll back some of the existing tariffs.
Anna Ashton, thank you so much.
Thank you.